Good evening. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Elizabeth Din. A historic day, as just 24 hours ago, abortion was a federally guaranteed human right. Now, it'll be a crime punishable by years in prison in at least 13 states, including for our neighbors in Idaho.
For a dozen other states likely to pass their own anti-abortion laws soon, and in the states where it remains legal for the first time in decades, that's now only one election away from changing.
And today, many took to the streets to protest across the country, protesting the Supreme Court decision. Hundreds here in our area. Joelle Jones was there. She's been there all day covering this, joining us live now with the latest. Joelle?
Yes, earlier we followed a crowd from Salmon Street Springs all the way to the Justice Center behind me. At its peak, there were about 1,500 folks, but that number has now since dwindled. The crowd you see behind me just started marching right before we got on the air. They have been throwing glass bottles at the federal courthouse building and chanting. They also started a street fire in addition to that bonfire from earlier. But earlier when we spoke to the mass group of protesters, they say that this decision is devastating, and they won't let it turn back the clock.
Another world is possible because we are unstoppable.
Hundreds of abortion rights activists took to the streets of Portland Friday following the controversial Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Parents, children, city representatives, and healthcare workers all showed up in protest of the historic ruling. Local nurse Andrew told us access to abortion is not only healthcare, but a human right.
Absolutely. It's a slippery slope. What's next? Contraception? I mean, absolutely. If we can start legislating away human rights and health care, the implications of that are massive.
This is not what most people in America want, and I mean, lives are at stake. Lives have already been sacrificed.
And while Oregon recently passed legislation to protect abortion rights within the state, the participants we spoke with today say this rally is an act in solidarity for those in other states who may lose access to abortion care.
They have people in Oregon that care about their reproductive freedoms, and I don't know, I think it's just really important to not sit back and be quiet right now.
We followed the crowd as they marched from the Justice Center across the Hawthorne Bridge and back. And while the majority of the protest was peaceful, Portland police say they have added resources in response to the rally. Chief Lavelle issued this statement, which reads in part, quote, "I respect the right to gather and demonstrate, and I urge everyone who does so to do so peacefully. I urge you to reject any attempt to undermine your message by those who utilize the tactics of criminal destruction." So police did say today that while they respect and honor these demonstrators' right to protest, they said anyone who is engaging in illegal activity, violence, or otherwise, as we see some vandalism behind us, they will be subject to being arrested or prosecuted. So we'll continue to follow this. As I said, they just started marching, and we'll keep you updated. Live in downtown Portland, I'm Joelle Jones, KOIN 6 News.